When I adopted Daisy, she was a scruffy shelter mix with one floppy ear and a sneeze that always showed up right after a wag. I brought her home on a rainy Thursday because I was tired of coming back to an empty apartment, and because the volunteer said, she likes people who talk a lot. I laughed and told her that Daisy and I would get along just fine. I pictured long walks, sunny photos, and a dog who would love me best simply because I signed the papers and carried her through the door. I didn't picture the day I'd stand in the kitchen, holding a note on the counter, realizing the two creatures who made my place feel like home were both gone. Evan met Daisy 2 weeks after our first date. He showed up with groceries and a bright green tennis ball, like he'd known about her for years. Daisy trotted straight to him, dropped the ball at his feet, and stared up at him like he was the most interesting person alive. He laughed, threw the ball down the hallway, and she slid across the hardwood like a kid on a water slide. Traitor. I joked and we all smiled. Under the smile was a small sting I didn't examine. I wanted to be her favorite. I wanted to be his favorite too. At first, the way he loved her felt sweet. He learned the names of her toys. He read about trimming nails without making a dog afraid. He checked food labels like a parent looking for hidden sugar. On Sundays he made chili for us and measured Daisy's meals into little containers, so I wouldn't forget during busy weeks. The first time he walked her because I stayed late at work, I texted a flood of hearts. The 10th time, something in me soured, and I didn't know why. Daisy leaned into him in photos like he was a wall that would never fall. At night she chose his side of the couch. If I scolded her for stealing socks, she went to Evan for comfort like he was the reasonable parent. He'd say, she's just a dog, but his voice always softened, and that softness rubbed against something sharp in me. The joke started. If he paused a movie because she whimpered at the door, I sighed loud enough to register. If he bought her another toy I said, she'll forget it in 2 days. When his camera roll turned into endless Daisy angles. Daisy with a frog toy, Daisy with a blanket cape, Daisy asleep in a perfect donut. I told him he could just marry her already. He laughed the first few times. After that his laugh got thin. One night he warmed her food with a splash of water the internet said was easier on her stomach. I rolled my eyes and said he was babying her. He set the bowl down and said, I like caring for things. I said, try caring for me first. The words came out harsh and tired, and I saw something close in his face. We ate in quiet while Daisy snored under the table, pleased with both of us, unaware she had become a wedge we were pushing deeper with our own hands. The night I embarrassed him in front of friends still makes my cheeks burn. We were at Jenna and Colby's for pizza, the kind of night that should have felt easy. Daisy dropped a rope toy in Evan's lap and huffed until he tugged. Colby said, that dog is a daddy's girl, and everyone laughed. Something in me snapped. He treats her like a newborn, I said. It's ridiculous. The room went quiet in the way rooms do when they realize they're watching a fight they didn't agree to attend. Evan's smile held for a moment, then fell. He set the rope on the floor and said nothing. On the ride home I tried to make a joke. He didn't take the bait. You make me feel stupid for being kind, he said, eyes on the road. I stared out the window and told myself he was being dramatic. After that he changed in small ways. He stopped narrating Daisy's thoughts to make me laugh. He booked her vet appointments without asking which time worked for me. He kept her favorite treats in his backpack instead of the kitchen jar. I told myself he was controlling. The truth was harder. He was stepping into the care I had dropped, because I wanted to win an invisible contest only I could see. I started keeping score of everything. Who fed her, who walked her, who she cuddled. Loving a dog turned into a scoreboard I checked when no one was looking. Our worst fight started on a Saturday morning. We were supposed to go to the farmer's market. I was dressed, keys in hand, waiting by the door while Evan knelt on the rug, working a burr out of Daisy's chest fur. Come on, I said. We're going to miss the peaches. He said, hang on, she's uncomfortable. I snapped, she'll live 5 minutes without your hands on her. He stood up slowly, like he was lifting something heavy only he could feel. I've never asked you to love her like I do, he said, calm and hurt at once. I just didn't think you'd resent me for it. I opened my mouth, ready with a sharp reply, then closed it. He picked up his jacket. I'm going to take her to the park. I let the door close without saying a word. We didn't break up that day. We drifted. He slept on the couch with Daisy curled at his feet. I lay in bed writing speeches where I sounded reasonable, and he finally understood me. On Tuesday he texted, taking Daisy to the park. I replied, don't be late for dinner. He didn't answer. He came home at 9, smelling like grass and river. My pasta was cold and my pride was hot. I told him he could have texted. He said he didn't know how to update someone who made fun of him for caring. I said I was only joking. He nodded like he'd heard that line before. The last week felt like slow thunder. He carried his books home. He took a box of mugs that were his, though he had always called them ours. He moved his charger from my bedroom to the living room. He called Daisy kiddo more often, like he was preparing her for a trip. On Friday I came home to find her bed gone from the corner, and her bowls lifted from the mat. For a heartbeat I thought I'd entered the wrong apartment. Then I saw his note on the counter. You don't have to compete anymore. I'll take care of her. My keys hit the floor. I called and it went to voicemail. I texted, you can't just take my dog. He replied, she's microchipped to you. I'll bring her for visits. I just won't let this turn into a tug of war she never asked for. I typed 100 angry sentences and deleted them all. I settled on, bring her back, and watched the message sit there, unread, like a stubborn door. The apartment felt hollow without her nails clicking on the floorboards. I woke expecting to tug her soft ear and tell her she was a good girl. The quiet answered me. I walked to the park alone and sat on the bench where we used to split a bagel. A woman threw a ball for her lap, and I had to turn away because my chest hurt like I'd run too far. My mother offered to help me get another dog, the way you replace a chair. I said no and ended the call. 3 days later Evan texted a photo of Daisy asleep on her back, paws in the air, stuffed otter tucked under her chin. She's okay, he wrote. I stared until my phone went dark. I typed, I miss her, and deleted it because it looked too much like, I miss you. I phoned the shelter and asked about options. The woman on the line said, is the dog safe? Is she cared for? I said yes. She said, then the rest is between people. I cried because I wanted a rule to save me and instead I got the truth. A week later he asked to meet at the little coffee shop with the fern in the window. He brought Daisy. She oinked when she saw me and pressed her whole body against my shins like she was trying to climb inside me. I buried my face in her neck and told her she smelled like sunshine and dust. Evan watched with that soft look he gets when he's half happy and half afraid. We sat outside. Daisy sprawled between us, warm and trusting. He said, I didn't leave to punish you. I said, it feels like punishment. He said, you made me feel small for loving something that loves without agenda. I said, I was jealous. Saying it made my throat burn. I wanted to be first. I wanted to be everything to both of you. He nodded. Love isn't a pie, he said. Daisy getting more from me didn't mean you got less. You decided it did. A bus hissed at the curb and carried away a group of people who would never know they had passed a breakup in the middle of a sidewalk. I asked if we could try again. He shook his head. Not now, he said. I'm tired of keeping score. I'm tired of hiding kindness so you won't mock it. He rubbed Daisy's ear. She needs peace. I said, so do I. He said, then choose it even if it isn't with me. The barista called a name that sounded like mine. For a moment I wanted to stand and take a drink that wasn't mine, as if I could grab any future by reaching out. I stayed in my chair and stroked Daisy's shoulder until my hand stopped shaking. We set up a schedule like divorced parents. He brought Daisy on Wednesdays so I could walk her by the river. I brought her back by 9 with her fur smelling like wet leaves. On Sundays he dropped her off while he ran errands. The first time, I overcompensated. I bought pricey treats she ignored and a fancy harness she hated. I learned to stop performing and just sit on the floor while she rested her chin on my knee. That felt like something inside me finally unclenching, a knot I had tied myself. People ask what happened and I give the short answer that makes me sound less cruel. I say we wanted different things. I say we didn't know how to share. The real version is simpler and uglier. I needed to be the center of every room, and when I wasn't, I turned the room mean. Evan didn't leave because he loved Daisy more. He left because I made love feel like a contest with a scoreboard only I could see. He chose a quiet life over the noise I kept making, and I can't say he was wrong. Months passed. He found a place with a small yard that Daisy treats like a museum of smells. He sends videos sometimes. Daisy supervising him while he grills, Daisy greeting the mail carrier like a rock star, Daisy wearing a ridiculous winter coat she pretends to hate. I send pictures back of her asleep on my couch, ear flipped inside out, paw over nose. We don't add extra words. We let the dog do the talking because she does it better. The silence between us isn't hostile anymore. It's careful and kind, like a path we both know how to walk without slipping. I still wish he had fought for us differently. I still wish I had stopped needing to win. Sometimes I replay the morning he carried her bed out. In my best version I say, wait. I'm sorry. I'm scared. In real life I said, you can't take my dog, like possession was the same as love. He took Daisy when he left because he refused to let my jealousy be the loudest sound in her life. He wasn't stealing her. He was saving something gentle from a house that had turned into a scoreboard with my name at the top. The apartment is quieter now. I keep her old water bowl under the sink and pull it out on Wednesdays and Sundays. When she drinks, the tag on her collar taps the metal and makes a small bell sound that reminds me to soften my voice. I'm trying to be the kind of person a good dog trusts without needing anyone to lose, so I can feel like I won. I don't know if Evan and I will try again. I know this. The next time someone I love loves something gentle, I won't laugh at it. I won't roll my eyes at their care. I will choose to be glad I get to stand near that kind of love. On the nights when I can't sleep, I open the window and listen to the city and pretend I can hear Daisy's nails on my floor. I remind myself that jealousy is a weight I can set down, that kindness is not a limited resource, and that the person who learns that late can still learn it. I turn off the light, picture a floppy ear and a bright tennis ball, and whisper, good girl, to the empty room, hoping that one day the room will answer back with trust one finally earned. If that day never comes, I'll still keep the bowl polished, the leash hung by the door, and the part of me that used to reach for the mean joke trained to reach for gentleness instead. That is what I can control. That is what I owe the version of me who made a mess, and the man who left with the dog because he loved her enough to refuse to fight about her anymore. And it is what I owe Daisy, who loved us both without a scoreboard, without a script, without a single word at all.